such a great slide to remind yourself.
Yeah, so that I do actually record. So our Monday noon Kickstarters or 12:30 Kickstarters, we're glad you've joined us. If this is the first time you're joining us, these are practice sessions based on conversations worth having. The 2 practices that are inside of it. If you haven't read it, you can download a conversation toolkit from our website. And in the toolkit, there's a summary of the book that talks about the 2 practices. And all of these are on our YouTube channel if you want to go back and see what we've done in the past. Basically, we're going to put into practice the 2 practices that allow you to turn any conversation into a conversation worth having. And those 2 practices are generative questions and positive framing. What we'll do is people will contribute a challenge, a situation they're stuck with, or that they've observed other people continually having a negative conversation around. Put that in the chat, and then we will draw from your situations to reframe and come up with generative questions for them. To create a positive frame, we're going to use flip, which is from the book, and it's to name it and then flip it to the positive opposite and then frame it. And so we'll take one of the challenges from the chat that you all have created, and then everybody will make suggestions for what is the positive opposite. And the positive opposite is really simple. It's just the positive opposite. So if the issue might be, we want to have a conversation about low performance, flip that. We're going to have a conversation about high performance. That's the positive opposite. And then the person whose challenge or problem it was will choose the positive opposite that they think most closely represents it. And then people will look at how do we want to frame that conversation. And you'll have a chance to put into chat possible positive frames. And there's never just one, there's always many possible frames. For instance, with high performance, it might be being here and loving it. It might be highly engaged teams, and it depends upon the context. And again, the person whose problem or situation it is will choose the frame they think would be the best frame for the conversation they would like to have. And then we're going to get into asking generative questions. 2 ways you can do that. We're going to bring up a whiteboard. When the whiteboard comes up at the top, you'll have a toolbar. Click on View Options. There'll be a drop-down menu. Select Annotate. And then the first thing to do is go in and click on Format, choose whatever color, and maybe set your pitch, the font pitch, to 14, no higher than 16. And then click on the Text tab, and you'll be able to generate questions. If you can't access whiteboard, go into the chat box, type in your question, and we'll bring it over for you. And generative questions are questions that help shift the way people are thinking or feeling. So with the frame that we've selected, that was selected by the person, what are you curious about? What don't you know? What questions might help foster a conversation that would move the conversation or the people in it forward? All right, so let's get started. Jackie, do you want to do the whiteboard or you want me to?
I can do it. Hello, Suzette and Vicki. Welcome back. All right.
Hi, Suzette. Hi, Vicki.
Okay, can you see the whiteboard, everybody?
Yes.
All right. So let's see. So let's head over to the chat. And if you would like to, we'll just take it 30 seconds, 45 seconds, type in the chat any problems or challenges that you have going on, or know of somebody else going on, or any frustrations. And we're going to practice doing this flip.
And it could be a conversation that's even like a national conversation or a community conversation. You feel like every community or every school system should be having.
Or any kind of problem, challenge, troubling situation.
Could be even an internal conversation. And how do I get out of this stuck loop?
Yeah, so make sure you type it in the chat and then hit enter, and that will be the first topic we will go with. Is everybody looking down? Does that mean you're all typing?
Yeah, I don't know whether you're typing or just thinking. All right. How about I'm going to type one in if that's okay.
Marty's saying yes.
Okay, our community leaders are old school and not open to more, not open to whole system engagement in systems change.
If they're old school, they probably don't even know about the system change.
Well, I can't imagine a community leader in this day and age not recognizing the need for system change in one way or another, even if it's just police force changing. Great. So Marty says the flip. Our community leaders are open to systems change. Our community leaders are engaging the whole system. Great.
Gary, which of those flips, opposites?
I'd like to combine them and say our community leaders are open to engaging the whole system in system change.
Okay, say that again.
Our community leaders are open to system change, or are open to engaging the whole system in systems change.
Okay, so that's the flip. And so imagine, and this is where we're going to help Sherry out, that the positive opposite is true. What would it look like? What would the frame be? So if the whole system was engaged in system change, what would be going on in the community? What would be some of the changes you might see in the community? Marty said we have a collaborative culture which focuses on moving our system forward.
My sense is we need a frame that will invite community leaders to think differently.
You're allowed to frame your own topic too.
I know, but I don't know what the frame is, but it feels like somehow community leaders, my sense is they're afraid to engage the whole system because they will lose control. And so it's, what's the conversation that could be had with community leaders that actually got them inspired in some way to, I don't know. I mean, this is a legitimate concern of mine, and I don't know what the conversation is.
We've got a few up there from, we have a collaborative culture which focuses on moving our system forward. That's Marty. Jackie said our community is thriving and flourishing. Marty again said our community leaders are able to seek out in their constituents and engaging conversations. our community is healthy and engaging in meaningful projects. So for those new, if the positive opposite was true, what would be the outcome? What would be going on in the community? And so Sherry's going to pick, as the person bringing it up, which one of these postings best give you the frame that you'd like to see to ask generative questions around. She's thinking.
Yeah, maybe our I think our community leaders are able to, are able to engage constituents in meaningful conversation. That's kind of pulling from Marty's. So our community leaders are able to engage constituents in meaningful conversations. That change the system. I don't, yeah.
How's that? The frame.
Community leaders are able to engage. I like it.
Good, because I don't know how to go back and change it. Okay, so here's where we're all going to help out Sherry. So imagine our community leaders are able to engage constituents in meaningful conversations to bring positive change in the community. What kind of questions, generative questions, would you ask that would help these community leaders do exactly move in the direction of that frame? What kind of generative questions to either deepen understanding, surface assumptions, bring in new knowledge, but what are some generative questions that could be asked? I like that. What strategies or protocols can we use to engage our community? What does engaging the community look like, sound like, feel like? Okay, I'm going to go over and pull something from the chat.
Ooh, I like that one.
What topics are you interested in hearing from the community? Thank you, Vicki. I'm going to put that right there. This around. Community engagement make leaders' jobs easier? What positive changes would build probably a healthy community? What topics are you interested in hearing? Good. Bring this big pink one over here.
I like that one too. These are good. Thank you.
I have one. I'm going to throw one more in. Just reading about World Cafes last night. That would be so much fun in a community. In the chat. Okay, Vicki, I'm going to grab a couple more. Vicki's just rolling in there. How do you define the community?
These are great. Thank you very much.
One more question here. Okay, so on your top of your screen, any of you doing community building, if you just hit the save, it will save the whiteboard. Zoom magically creates a folder in your download or your documents file, And in there will be this whiteboard, and we will also post it for you and we'll email it out to you. Okay, I'm going to clear this. And let's head over to the chat. Is there a challenge, a problem, an issue that you're having?
Or a question you have? How might I
You guys are all problem challenge free, no questions.
Marty, how did your conversation last week go? You're on mute. It went well?
Yes, it went well. And in fact, I'm meeting with that principal again this afternoon to further brainstorm. She was really excited about the list of questions that we had for her.
Wonderful.
And the thing is it's not just her. This is our state right now, our county, where everyone is starting to say, okay, it's time for kids to go back to school, and the anxiety is going up. And it's interesting that, okay, it's time for everybody to go back to school, and we're starting to have record high coronavirus.
Right.
Also at the same time. So it's,
yes,
it's politics of the parents saying, you know, the kids got to go back.
But our numbers are going up.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy.
Yep.
So I'm putting one in the chat right now.
Right.
Seems like whenever I connect with colleagues.
Did you put one in the chat, Marty?
I'm just about there. The doc always turns. Since I have, I think, had 3 conversations explored of the last few weeks, I thought, well, I should stay out of it this time. But it seems like maybe negative about. Okay, there it is.
Ah. Okay, I'm going to put that in the text. All right, so you want to say anything about the context of this?
There's just a frustration here that our senior leadership just isn't attuned to what we're doing and how we're being, and therefore our middle level leaders kind of act as a screener for us, and that sometimes they'll even say, well, we're just not going to tell the senior leadership that this is what we're doing.
Oh.
And that causes us as the people at this level to just really talk negatively about all of our leadership, because it seems like, well, can't they advocate for us, or don't they want to hear what we're doing and how we're doing it? And the only time they seem to be interested is if we're not doing so well. And so it's, you know, and I just, you know, we've been remote since last March until September. And so it was real easy to not get into those conversations. And now we're kind of in a hybrid, and I'm here 2 days a week. And it always seems like in those 2 weeks, we're all just huddling around with our mask on, talking negatively about the leadership. So I don't know. There's so much negativity in the world right now. I don't want to come to work and do it too. So that's why I threw that in there.
Great.
So I see dialogue about leadership with colleagues is positive. I actually think that's a really good flip, but we'll let Marty fix it. And then Vicki, I really see you beginning to frame the situation very nicely for Marty. So Marty, look at
I think what Sherry wrote is, it's real simple. That's exactly the flip. Dialogue about leadership with my colleagues is positive. That's That would be great. That would be great.
Think about framing.
Yep.
And I also think Vicki has begun a frame.
Yeah.
If that was true, if dialogue about leadership was really positive, our organization is able to engage in positive collaborative dialogue with our leadership. That would be an outcome of.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, though, is that we can't. We don't know how. We don't have that opportunity. So it's kind of what's within our power, what's within our control at this place. I don't know.
Would you see what Vicki typed as a frame, that if the dialogue about leadership with your colleagues is positive,
Yeah.
would be our organization is able to engage in positive and collaborative dialogue with our leadership. Or Sherry type dialogue about leadership with my colleagues is positive. We are able, her frame is, we are able to engage in positive and collaborative dialogue with leaders at every level.
That's really Vicki's just making it the statement that,
right.
Marty, since you said, no, we can't, then
Mm-hmm.
the goal would be, we are, and then all your questions could wrap around.
Sure. Okay, I see. Yeah.
Do you like that frame?
Well, or maybe not we are able, we engage in positive
Nice.
dialogue. Now we're able, we just do it. That we talk positively about our leaders and we feel like we're part of the community. So we engage in positive and collaborative dialogue with each other about our leaders at every level. I like that, at every level.
Yeah, that's not, this is Vicki. That's nice. And I like that you just skip the able and just we engage.
Yeah.
How's that? There's your frame, everybody. So what kind of questions would have to be asked, generative questions, that we can really learn about the frame that Marty and all organizations should move for? So what kind of generative questions?
I have one that seems simple and I might need help reframing it, but here goes.
Is it a question or?
Yeah, that's a question. Yeah.
Question. How do we listen to each other? I think that's I would be very curious. I think Vicki, what kind of generative question is like my wish question. What are your wishes? How do we listen to each other? I think that's a beautiful generative question. What conditions would make it possible for us to engage in dialogue with leaders at every level? Yes, that's great. Let's look at the conditions there. Where have you seen it, and what conditions would make it possible? So I like the question below. In our organization, where have you seen positive dialogue at its best with senior leaders? And then moving into a question of what conditions would make it possible. How might we attune at every level? When I approach my colleagues, how do I frame conversation that leads to open, meaningful conversations that leave us energized, upbeat, and ready to move forward?
I really like that one question because it really puts the onus on me. You know, so often what we, again, is the control piece, that we don't feel like we have control. So it's real easy for us to circle down the drain about poor us, poor victim, all that kind of stuff, where when I approach my colleagues, how do I frame the conversation? You know,
How are these questions helping you?
yeah, this is good. It always is good. That's why.
For those of you that are new here today, if you go to our blog, you can see the topics for the last 6 weeks. We've done with all kinds of topics. You will see how we flipped it, what the frames are, and the generative questions we have.
Nice.
It's all on the Conversations Worth Having .today website. Just go to the blog. It keeps a running record of everything. All right, I am going to I'm going to go save this. I like that when talking with my colleagues, how might I shift conversations to give us potential?
There we go. Yeah.
Ask the employees, how can we have leadership be more engaged with us? Maybe they don't even know. If they don't know, they don't know what they don't know. And how do they know how to get there? I think I love that question.
And there's also that whole middle management piece of maybe middle management doesn't know how to talk to the level above. So how do we have conversations with middle management to support their capacity?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to save this. And I'm going to clear this. And it's exactly 1 o'clock.
We are right on time.